Sion, and with him 144,000.
Remember that the Sion is the Zion of the sun, thus the lion and the lamb, because the lion and the lamb are the symbols that represent the spring summertime, the time of the year when God's sun is between the lamb and the lion of Aries and Leo. And of course the lion and the lamb are with the cross. So you can see how any, revolving, rotating, recycling, repeating, rebirthing object is named after Re, the sun god that does all of these things naturally. And of course the sun gives off radiation, which is why we have Ra in radiation, and that gives us the radiant light. And of course we also named radar after Ra, and of course our radio, and of course we have the Ra in radium, which the word is derived from the radius. So the ancients were in tune with Ra, the sun god, which is why we find Ra in so many of these ancient Kemetic or Egyptian words. They were in sync with Ra and based their lives around it. In fact, they understood how Ra was in the Ra'ain, and of course in rainbows. So Ra was the bringer of the day and the night. Thus, Ra gives us our word that we use today, known as the realms. So, like I explained earlier, the light of Ra, or Re, or the light of God, if you will, the light rays and the light essence of it was thought to be godly, so therefore any element that carried the light itself was godly, considered godly. Like I said earlier about the jewels or the gems, the diamonds, and of course the sacred oils, because all of these elements reflected or were reflectors of the light. And of course the most sacred of all is the light rays that reflected in the sacred waters. And of course this is why the Bible has the story of the Son of Man that performs a miracle, the mirror of El. And of course this oracle miracle is the reflection in the mirror. So the miracle, or the mirror of El, God's light that walks upon the water, or Jesus walking on the water, is that the ray lights reflect off of the surface of the water, and therefore they walk or dance on the surface. So the water is a mirror that reflects the light exactly like a mirror. So, of course, those that had the light in them or the ray in them were like God, or they were kings. Therefore, you understand now why the word Rex, which means a king, has ray in it. You see, because the sun is the king that leads the way. He leads the path, the pathway. Thus, the sun is the leader. Therefore, the leader Jesus says, "Follow me." I mean, why do you think the leader Joshua commands the sun to stand still? Well, no man can do that, but sun still is the meaning of the solstice. When God's sun stands still in the realm of the mid-El. So to have the light and the wisdom within you, you were the king who sat on the throne between the pillars of knowledge and wisdom. So the king who sits upon the throne between the pillars of the sun and the moon is the ruler. He is the Rex that controls the body of the corporation, of the republic of the people, thus the sun and the moon of the Democrats and the Republic. The two forces of nature that are opposed to one another, that battle and fight one another every day and every year. The seasons. So the kings of this world have always used their knowledge and wisdom and the ignorance of the people against themselves, which is exactly why the illuminated light of Re in the Rex King rules over his people and reigns over them. The Rex
Bull that we know as the Star, which is represented by the Pendalpha of 5. The 5 Pendalphas, which of course is made of the single triangle of L, the triangle, or the Pendalpha of A, which of course in Paleo-Hebrew is the symbol of the bull with horns. And of course, in my past videos, I have proven that all of the ancient cultures worshipped the sacred bull god. From ancient Mesopotamia, the Sumerians, the Greeks, the Romans, the Hebrews, and to this very day, they're still worshiping the bull god. So Egypt is especially associated with the sacred bull gods, like Osiris and Isis. And of course, one of their symbols is the symbol of the Pendalpha, or the star of Sirius. The relationship of Sirius and the bull. So Sirius is not only related to the bull, but also to death, which is why they slay the sacred bull. So that's why the death aspect of the star of Sirius is known as the Death Star. Remember the War of the Stars, or the Star Wars, and the Death Star? Remember I told you about the 23 in Star Wars on the final assault, where Luke Skywalker is the red number 5. Now, of course, Luke means Lucifer, the morning star, as in when you mourn someone when they die from death. So that's why in Harry Potter, Sirius Black is related to Black Death. So perhaps now you'll understand why we have the expression, "I'm dead serious." So this is exactly why the death cult of the Illuminati worships death. And of course, the Illuminati has taken this ancient wisdom and spread it throughout their kingdoms of the world. The symbols for Sothis or Sirius, Osiris and Isis, the symbol of the Pentalpha, as well as the obelisk, and of course the sacred cap or dome. And they have embedded their symbolism into the very fabric and heart of America, which is why you'll find the 3 symbols that represent Sirius in the very construction and layout of Washington, D.C. And remember, to the ancient Egyptians, Sirius was associated with death, evilness, and destruction, which gives the true meaning to the star, the Pendalpha or the pentagram. And you see, this is exactly why America has a pentagon. So from the Death Star Sirius, you now know why America uses the Death Star Pentagon, which is the pentagram, as their symbol. Because the Pentagon is where we construct, and organize and mastermind the death, destruction, and genocide across the world. And of course, they mind control the sheep to actually believe that the World Trade Center could fall with fire. And of course, they want you to believe that a jet actually flew into the Pentagon on September 11th, which happens to be the very day the Pentagon was constructed. And I am the one that discovered that Manhattan in New York was discovered by Henry Hudson on September 11th. So now you'll understand why the Illuminati places their pentagram or their star of Sirius, the star of death, as their symbol for the military, which is why you'll find the symbol of Sirius upon all of the vehicles of death. And now you'll also understand why the tyranny of the police officer also uses the star of death, the star of Sirius. So why do you think Chrysler, the Christ Slayer, uses the star of Sirius, the pentagram, as their symbol? Because Chrysler was the company that manufactured the vehicles that America used to cause death and destruction across the world. And the ritualistic, obsessed elite use the numerology of the 5 within the 5. And of course, all of the Illuminati blatant numerology is in plain sight. Thus, the Pentagon is 77 feet tall, or 23 meters high. And of course, they tell us that 23,000 workers work there. And I'm sure you already know about the obsession that the Illuminati elite have with the wise old owl, which is a symbol of silent death. And you'll notice the star of the United States Capitol that sits in the belly of the beast of the owl. Which is why in the belly of the beast of the Pentagon in the center is the sacred owl. The owl of death, which says, "So mote it be," which is a saying that you'll find in witchcraft and secret societies. And that's why the symbol for Satanists, as well as witchcraft, is that of the pentagram, the 5-pointed star, or the Pentalpha. The same pentagram that you'll find at every Masonic lodge.
Outside.
Season, or the bi-cycle of winter and summer, the colors change. Then the deceiver, the winter time that takes over the red hot summer, is the blue one. So the devil in December is the death of the year, which is why the devil is the evil deceiver who takes over life, and then Jesus will be reborn again to come back and save everyone. And that's exactly why we have the two brothers that struggle and fight over rulership of the year, exactly like the story, or should I say the true story, of Jacob and Esau, the red versus the blue. And by the way, we need air to survive, and actually we need the oxygen to survive, which again is the theme or the symbol of the bull. And it's the same story with fire. In order for fire to burn, it needs the oxygen. So anyway, you see why the bull is the devil. He is the one that takes over the wintertime and deceives the good summertime. So he's the deceiver. He's the wintertime. He's the bull from hell, which is why he is the bull of the bullshitter. So this is exactly why the Bible is talking about the two bulls and why it has the Old Testament and the New Testament. And this is exactly why they even show you the color symbolism of red and blue. So this is exactly why the Bible has what's known as parables, which is a pair of bulls, the double. Again, we're talking about a double meaning. In other words, we're talking about the deception. We're talking about trying to trick and fool people with double entendres, with parables. That's what they're talking about, because they're talking about bullshitting somebody. They're talking about fooling you, and that's exactly why it's called the parables. In fact, the whole book of Psalms is about parables. It's talking about metaphoric theology, and this is exactly why the very word Psalms comes from the essence of the lyre, or the lyre, because the lyre, or the lyre, comes from the bull, the bullshitter. So anyway, you see how the words fable, double, parable, and bullshit all mean a lie. So let's get back to the etymology of double. You'll notice that they explain to you what duo means. It means two. But they never explain to you what the BLE means, because this is a two-syllable word, double, and they never explain to you and tell you the etymology of the BLE. But I will. So you see, this is why we pronounce the phonetic sound of BLE not as blee, but as bull, as in capable or able. And that's exactly why we say double and not doubly. And that's why the suffix of BLE, ABLE, or EBLE, or IBLE, or BUL, or BOL, or BOS all mean the bull. It's the suffix of bull, which gives it the ability, the strength. It strengthens the word and gives it more power. And of course, this action comes from the bull, which is exactly why the phonetic sound is bull.
And I highly suggest this site to anyone out there that's interested in learning the etymology of words and learning where words come from, learning the